Hello. Welcome back to a stream which I haven't done in a while. I was going through this project to get to isolate one of the stems, and I thought, well, why not do a little project breakdown while I'm at it. So what's up, everyone? How's it all going? How's your new year been? Well, I guess we can get started. So I'll just play a little bit of it. Anyway, if you want to listen to the whole thing, you can go check it out on Spotify, YouTube, or Soundcloud, or whatever you prefer. Yeah, I got a new mic. I got a SM7B because it picks up less noise. But yeah, let's go through this project a little bit. I guess starting with the thing that I started with, which was this choir pad thing. Basically, I made this after I saw this documentary about 10cc and how they made I'm Not in Love. If you don't know that song, it's a very influential song. Go check it out. But part of that song is a vocal pad in the background, and the way they made that pad is they got all the members of the band to sing a loop of one note, and they basically had rolls of tape, each with one note, and each note was on a different fader of the mixing board, and they would all play it like an instrument. So, and also they made it so it would never go down to silence. They had tape on the mixing board, so it wouldn't. So you could hear all the notes at all times, basically. So yeah, go check out that documentary. I think it's on YouTube if you haven't seen it. God, I really need to get rid of that bot. Right. So yeah, this is where I started. And as you can see, I have different automations for each note. And yeah, To give you some background, these vocals were sung by a singer called Marcy really, really long time ago, maybe 2008, 2007. I asked her to sing each note of the scale, I think maybe 2 octaves. And yeah, so these are really old recordings I had lying around. I used them at the time for like vocal chops and stuff, but here I put them all into different channels, and then I have just an instance of utility. And back before I think it was in version 8, the utility didn't the gain of the utility didn't go down all the way, so effectively that was like my tape on the mixing board that wouldn't let me silence any note. So yeah, even at 0, you can still hear every note. So yeah, I basically automated them to fit with the music. Actually, before I came up with that idea, I guess I should start with the piano part. And yeah, this is a freeze that had a lot going on before I froze it. I think the piano patch was called Malmestro piano. I could be wrong, but that was the patch I used, and then I ran it through a bunch of things. I think I had it running through a send effect channel that it had delay and flange and all sorts of crazy crap going on. Then I compressed the hell out of it and high passed it with this, and then froze that. So you can hear all those little artifacts and stuff in the high end. And that was just from taking that piano patch and then running it through a bunch of effects and compressing the hell out of it. But I didn't add any like bit crushing or anything. All those high artifacts came with the patch. I think it was like a low bitrate recording or something, because as soon as you boost like the noise floor, you could hear all these weird artifacts. So I kind of liked that about it. And yeah. So yeah, then originally it was a Vocaloid vocal, and that was the main lead vocal. I think it might even still be in here. There's some noise and effects and stuff. I'll go through that in a second. Did I leave it in? No, I guess not. Well, also, what's sort of driving the whole track, at least in the intro, is this heartbeat, which is just an instance of operator with some effects on it. And this is a very old project, so there's a lot of plugins that I hardly use anymore, like Oxford Suppressor and ProQ1. here's a bit of history. In the old versions of Ableton, you couldn't, because of that utility problem, that you couldn't go down all the way to 0. You had to use a effect rack and use the chain volume. But yeah, let's turn all these effects off and see what it sounds like. Just out of curiosity. Yeah. I wanted it just to be a nice low pulse without any attack on it. And then there's this guitar loop, which isn't really a guitar. I mean, it is me strumming a guitar, but I'm not strumming any chords. I'm just strumming the strings above the frets. So if I solo it, kind of hear it. Because because it's just really high harmonics and then there's the chords from the piano playing underneath it, it kind of gives you the impression that it's playing chords, but it's not. It's just random harmonics on the guitar. It's this little sound effect. But yeah, I really like the way the pad sounds like that 10cc track. That the way it sounds like notes are actually being played rather than just automated in. But yeah. The MIDI of the piano patch. Yeah, sure. I did save that. Oh, and I did... Looks like I saved all the processing as well. That's cool. Yeah. Wow. Let's look at the MIDI. Yeah, it looks like I quantized it a bit, but I remember playing it in live, and then I must have quantized it afterwards. I don't have the original contact patch, or else I would show you how I processed everything and stuff. What's this? Ah, yeah, a little pad that comes in, just filling the harmonics a bit. Alright, I guess we can move on to the real meat of the song, which is Olan's vocals. She did an awesome job on this, as always. Oh, there's the original vocal. So, yeah, this is the original Vocaloid vocal. Ugh, it's really cringy. So the reason why this is such an old track is, yeah, I had this song and this Vocaloid vocal, and it just like gave me the creeps. And yeah, it was like what's the word? Anyway, yeah, it was really creepy, and I was just waiting for the right vocalist rather. So yeah, one day when Olan was in the studio, I just said, "Hey, I want you to try out this track." And yeah, she fit really perfectly with it. I'm not going to play the whole Vocaloid vocal because it's really cringy, but this is where it ended up.
You were there by the lake in the snow, faint light of the evening glow, as you walked at the pace that my feet could not go, couldn't run, couldn't follow.
I think, if I remember correctly, the mic we used for this was the the Neumann FET 47 running through the Avalon. The Avalon 737. And yeah, that gave it a really nice, smooth, crisp high end, but a really clear and deep low end, which I needed for this because the vocal is such a central point, a central focal point of the whole track. So you can hear there's like a lot of low end rumble in the voice, and I wanted that because I wanted it to feel really close and intimate. And before I show you the processing, let me just play it without the processing to show you that it was pretty solid already.
You were there by the lake in the snow, faint light of the evening.
It looks like there was a pop there that I missed. Whoops. Alright, so let's go through the vocal processing a little bit. First, as you can see, I boosted a lot of lows with this Pultec. And yeah, that gave me the low end I needed, the intimacy. Because when you're more close up on the mic, you hear more of the low end. I guess I really want to bring out that quality of her voice. So let me just.
You were there by the lake in the snow, faint light of the evening glow.
And without.
You were there by the lake in the snow.
Just like brings her voice forward, and yeah. And this Pultec has a nice, rich, creamy texture to it. Then taking a little bit of the low end out and doing a little bit of sibilance control with a dynamic EQ. And then here I take care of like the reverbs. So I'm using two different reverbs. One with a little bit of pre-delay, going into a lot of compression. Actually, this is expansion. Yeah. So I only wanted like the highest peaks to go through into the first reverb. So as you can see, I've got an expander and then a gate. So you can only, so the reverb, the input to the reverb is only getting the highest peaks of her voice. So all of this is pre-reverb. And then I'm using a little plate, which is one of my favorite simple reverbs, with a little bit of compression afterwards. And I'll just mute the second reverb so you can hear with and without.
You were there by the lake in the snow.
I'll solo it as well.
You were there by the lake in the snow. Fading light of the evening glow.
You hear how it like drops out a little bit? Yeah, I wanted the reverb to really get the extreme dynamics of her voice. And then the other reverb behind it is a Valhalla vintage verb. Yeah, with a lot of EQing, a lot of lows taken out, and a lot of around 3K taken out as well, and then again compressed. And it's kind of hidden there in the background, but you'll hear it adds a lot of body.
You were there by the lake.
That's with and without.
You were there by the lake in the snow.
With.
You were there by the lake in the snow.
So keep in mind, this one is getting a lot more delay as well. Is there any pre-delay here? No. Yeah, that's why I had to use that, because this plugin doesn't have a pre-delay. So yeah, I wanted this reverb to come before this one to give that illusion of it's coming from an actual room. And then we have some harmonies.
Couldn't run.
So good. Yeah, I didn't really do much to these. Yeah, just taking out some low end on each. But yeah, it was just recorded really well.
Couldn't run.
And
Must have been a terrible curse. Must have been a terrible curse.
so yeah, the chorus is processed a little bit differently. Hey, what's up, Lou? Nice of you to join us. So yeah, the chorus is processed a little bit differently. I've got this effect rack, which I made, which is trying to mimic a Dolby Type A effect. I don't know if I have time to explain it right now, but basically it was like a multiband compressor. I've explained it in other videos, but yeah, I use that a lot to brighten things up, and yeah. really brings out the top end, but in a nice, pleasant way. And then I have just one instance of delay with some EQ before it and compression.
Must have been a terrible curse. Must have been a Must have been a Must have been a terrible curse. Must have been a terrible.
So yeah, you can hear it. It really brings out the high frequencies. Let's see. If there's anything I missed, let me know. Okay, so then we get to the second verse.
Wake me up from the dream that I know. Every night, like an old episode.
And I really, really, really like this because there's hardly anything on her voice, and it's just, yeah, her natural voice front and center without any reverb or anything. And here, yeah, I just boosted the low end again. And yeah, this just comes in later, the flanging and reverb. But yeah, the only thing that's really on her voice right now is this EQ and this to take off some extra low end. And then, yeah, the lead vocals were all recorded with the FET 487. And then we used this little crystal mic. I'll get it. We used this thing, which called a crystal mic. And it basically sounds like a tiny little radio. So I like to use mics that will give me the EQing that I already want to put in the mix, instead of using a normal mic and then EQing it so it sounds like that afterwards. But this is what those crystal mics sounds like.
Playing over in my head. Playing over in my head as I tried to escape. Couldn't go, couldn't run, couldn't follow.
Yeah, so as you can hear, they're incredibly noisy, and you wouldn't use them for like a lead vocal, but for background vocals, it's actually really great.
Playing over in my head as I tried to escape. Couldn't go, couldn't run, couldn't follow.
Alright, so reaching the like big loud part, I guess we can go back up to the drums, and then we'll go back down to the vocals in a bit. But yeah, I want to do the instruments first. So Yeah, the drums are all actually Superior Drummer. I'm not using a live drummer for this track, although I should have. But yeah, I didn't want to mess with the sound of it too much from the original. But by this point, I already had a drum kit, and I mean, by the time I went to finish this mix and put Olan's vocals on it, I already had a drum kit. I should have just recorded a new track, but I guess I was lazy as well. And these were sounding all right. So I sent them all out to different outputs, did some EQing and stuff on each of the channels. And yeah, I'll just solo the drums for a second. So yeah, kind of basic sounding when you solo them. Not the best drum sound looking back. But if I go through the channels, you'll see there's not that much on each one of them. This is the kick, I think. Yeah, just the DBX 160, DBX 160 on the snare. And then nothing except for a little bit of EQing on the other things. But all the sound of it comes from all the processing on the whole group, which is quite drastic. So if I turn off all the processing, well, first of all, it's very quiet, but yeah, first I have this Devillock, which is smashing it to shit. Little radiator, giving it a little extra saturation and boost. Yeah, a little bit of a room, I guess, from this Valhalla verb, because it was sounding a little bit dry. So with a lot of EQing before it. And here I'm doing some mid-side EQing, where I'm taking the mids out of the mid channel. More EQing, more mid-side and weird stuff going on. What is this doing? I guess this is just compressing the high end a lot. Kind of subtle effect. And then again with the Dolby Type A, which, yeah, works well on a lot of different source materials, so this is without. Yeah, I like using it and then just blending it in with the dry signal a little bit and keeping it in the background just to reinforce everything. And then moving down, we got some other instruments. Oh yeah, and before I do that, I want to show you this patch. So I just copied the MIDI over to a new instrument, and I think, yeah, I used electric, which is just the inbuilt electric piano emulator that Ableton has. If I take off all the effects, you'll hear it's just plain old electric. I might have put some saturation stuff on it, but yeah, this plugin is really cool. Vintage rotary I like to use a lot. Basically, it makes anything sound like a Hammond organ, and especially with keys and stuff, it sounds really good. Anything with a nice little attack and kind of transient sound. It really creates the whole vibe of that sound. A little bit of multiband compression to control the low end. A little bit of reverb, and yeah, just limiting the width of it a little bit so it's not too wide, because I want to save the width of the full stereo signal for the chorus to give as big of an impact as possible. And yeah, just a little bit more control of the low end. And here we go into rock mode. Oh, that's the original Vocaloid vocal again. But yeah, this is all the instruments, and I didn't use any I mean, I didn't use any like live instruments to do this. I didn't use any guitars or anything. This is all soft synth, I think, unless this is okay. I did layer a little bit of live guitar, but yeah, very, very low in the background. Because, yeah, the synths fill up a huge part of the spectrum. So this is the bass. Yeah, there's a pretty extreme sidechain going on here, which I probably wouldn't do on this kind of track nowadays. But yeah. Just a little bit of EQing, and yeah, as you can see, this was made in FM8. And I wanted it to sound like Climbing Up the Walls by Radiohead. I remember the big inspiration for this track. And then here are what are supposed to be guitars, but it's just Serum. And here I'm using an M transformer to sort of sculpt the sound a little bit. Without it, it sounds like that. Vintage warmer, I use a lot on anything that's supposed to be like a guitar. It just adds a lot of body to guitars, and yeah, it works really well on guitars for some reason. I don't know why. And yeah, there's some real guitars layered on underneath. Just really badly played. Um, yeah, I I layered it over thinking like, oh, I should layer some guitars over it, but I don't think it really needed them, so I just put them in the background as a sort of textural layer. There's already plenty of mid-range there to work with, so. Yeah, I even tried to mimic the sort of like Johnny Greenwood guitars. And then a little organ sound in there to reinforce everything. Doesn't want to load today. Let's see if it's going to keep doing that. There you go. Alright, so let's go to the vocals. For the chorus, I wanted it to be really upfront. I think we used a different mic as well. I think, Lou, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we used the SM57 for the chorus. Or no, we used the AT2020. No. What did we use? The AKG? I know Lou's in the chat, so maybe she can tell us. She was staring at it, I wasn't. But anyway, I want to use a mic that had a lot more punch and mid-range and aggressiveness. So it was either the SM57 or the AKG, whatever the fuck it's called. But, yeah.
Must have been a terrible
I think, let me take all this effect rack off.
Must have been a terrible coup.
Yeah, we must have recorded it with some distortion on the way in. The AKG, yeah. Yeah, so what were we using to distort? I think, were we using a guitar pedal or was this just a freeze? I can't remember.
Must have been a terrible coup.
And the harmonies, I think we're done with another mic as well.
Must have been a terrible.
I love the harmonies on this because they're so fucking weird. Like when you listen to them by themselves, it just sounds like weird. It doesn't make sense at all.
Must have been a terrible coup.
Yeah, I love the vocal melody. Originally it was just gonna repeat that same vocal melody. But I decided to try something a little bit different for the second time around. And yeah, it took a bit of time to get it, because it just felt like it shouldn't make sense, because it like stays on the same note, then goes down a semitone. Like, I'll solo it and show you what I mean. And when you play it there, it makes sense, but when you play it with the whole vocal, it just feels really weird.
Must have been a terrible cruise. See you in a parallel world.
And then with the harmonies, it all just fits so perfectly.
Must have been a terrible cruise. See you in a parallel world. See you in a parallel world.
And yeah, this has a ton of compression and distortion. 1 second. Right. So yeah, some distortion and compression on the backing vocals to differentiate them a bit. And I should have put this after the distortion, but I guess I missed that, because as you can hear, there's a lot of low end rumble from all the distortion going on. But in this kind of track, I guess it doesn't matter as much. I should add there's one part left over from the Vocaloid track that I kept, and that's this. Just heavily processed. You wouldn't even notice them if I hadn't showed you. But yeah, they're hidden there in the background. And then let's get on to the solo, the guitar solo, which isn't guitar, again, it's just a synth. Took a while, I remember, to program this guitar solo just to get it right and feeling like a real guitar. But yeah, I use FM8 and Sylenth, and together they sound like this. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of how this turned out, and especially this guitar solo. So what can I say? I mean, it's Frozen, so I don't know if I kept the MIDI somewhere. Is it in here somewhere? Those are the drums. Man, I wish I kept the MIDI because it took a while to program that. And yeah, I didn't play any of that. It was all programmed and edited on the keyboard. I mean, this keyboard. But yeah, guitar's my main instrument, but I didn't want to play a cheesy guitar solo. I wanted to program it so it would sound a little bit wrong and interesting. And I probably couldn't play this anyway, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, so I split it up into two different instances. One was the FM8 one, which was the more distorted. And yeah, you can hear how I program the MIDI to imitate the things that a guitarist does when they're playing a solo, like the little accents you do at the beginning of a note and at the end where you run your pick along the strings and stuff. So yeah, I really wanted to make it sound like it's an actual guitarist, and I think, and also yeah, vibrato helps, and the fact that this patch was a little bit dirty had like some kind of looping envelope which made it sound like picking, I guess. But then to add some clarity over the top of it, I added the Sylenth patch, which was just, I think, a clean saw wave. So there you can really hear what the MIDI sounds like. When I saw that, it makes it sound like some kind of crazy space punk. But yeah, together. Yeah, that phasing lead from the Sylenth really gives it an added dimension. It's like I imagine like a sort of electric thunderbolt kind of thing where it's got like electric fingers coming off of it, you know what I mean? Yeah, little bolts of electricity. Here, I remember I was trying to make this. I was trying to add a little bit of something at the end, this little extra guitar part. It's nice, but I don't know if it needed that. But yeah, just thought I'd show you guys. I think that's it. If there's any questions, let me know before I head off and eat the food that just arrived. How do I make the drum sound powerful without making it sound like EDM drum punchy? I think it's just a restraint in all the other elements. Letting the drums poke through. This also helped. I was doing a little bit of parallel compression. I'll show you. So here I have a UAD API 2500 compressor emulation that's on pretty extreme settings if I solo it. So yeah, that's sitting underneath the drums, reinforcing it. I don't know how much that's adding though. Really, really, really subtle effect that is. And this isn't doing anything, it's just adding a little bit of saturation. Yeah, whenever I add this plugin on and I A/B it, it always sounds a little bit more punchy and in your face with this on. So yeah. And also the DBX 160 helps a lot with your kick and snare, just to make it punch through the mix. I can show you with and without. Yeah, it's like night and day, really. Like, without it on, without the DBX 160, it's just a floppy kind of sound for the kick and snare. But with the 160, it's nice and punchy and direct, which is what the 160 is really good at doing. Well, first of all, the track volume, I don't like automating because I like to use that to mix the track. So if there's any automation on it, then I can't use it to mix. So yeah, I usually use a instance of utility, or back in the day I would use an effect rack with the chain volume. Any other questions? I master in Ableton, yeah, but this track wasn't mastered by me. It was mastered by Kevin at Wired Masters in the UK. And yeah, I don't master my own tracks, or I try not to, unless I have to. But um, yeah, I always leave somebody else to master my tracks. I do mastering for other people, but I don't master my own stuff. I think that's a common thing. It's just you don't want to. You want somebody else that hasn't listened to your track a million times to master your track rather than you, because you've slaved over it and you have a very biased ear of your own music. What documentary? Look up 10cc documentary. Um, Usually I don't have too much on my master. Here I don't have anything. I have this limiter which I added to do a home master, but I took that off. There's nothing on this. This is just to open and close my instance of Insight, which can't move it. Can't move the screen. But yeah, this is for streaming, and then this is another utility. So yeah, there's nothing on my master. I don't have a particular dB that I mix down at. All I try and do is not have it clip the master, and as long as there's some headroom. I mean, I don't always do it that way. In fact, up until pretty recently, I would have everything red, sending red into the master, and then I would limit it and just chop it off. But nowadays, I give myself a lot more headroom. Well, that's why I made this thing, so I could keep Insight on top all the time. It's just a Max for Live device. If you don't know, you can load any VST inside Max for Live and create your own little device that opens whatever VST you want. I'll show you. Yeah, you could just turn the gain on the master, but then you don't have headroom on the actual individual tracks either. And you don't want it clipping into other plugins. So, yeah, this is just something that allows me to open and close Insight. So, this is just the VST, I think. Yeah, load VST to plugin. Just load it in, save your own device, and then send it open, and then you can even tell it the coordinates where you want it to open to, and then you can have a little toggle here that opens and closes it, and you can add a key mappable thing. So yeah, very helpful. Which Superior Soundbank, Superior Drummer Soundbank, I used the custom vintage with the Ludwig Black Beauty as the snare and Noble and Cooley Star series as the kick. And the hat was a 1960s Zildjian Istanbul. I think that's the one that I bought in the end as well. The one that I actually have on my kit. Yeah. I started on FL Studio actually. Well, FL Studio was my second DAW actually after Logic version 5. Yeah, I think I left FL on version 6. But yeah, I started on FL version 4, and then in 2008 I switched over to Ableton. Yeah, I didn't get the new Superior Drummer yet. To be honest, there's not a lot of features in the new Superior Drummer that I want. I mean, there are some cool stuff like being able to automate or do pitch envelopes and stuff on the samples. It's cool, but I just want it to emulate a real drum kit. And for this, it's perfect. For version 2, does everything I need it to. It does all the drum bleed stuff. Yeah. That's really important as well. Having all the mics bleed a little bit to emulate a real drum kit. Because if you have it just the direct signals, it sounds a little bit fake and digital sounding. It already sounds fake and digital, but it just helps to be a little bit more convincing when you add a bit of the bleed back. Favorite thing about free loops? The granulator? Is that what it's called? The granular synth, whatever that's built into it. I love that. I used to make whole tracks just with that. Just fucking around with the granulator. Any kind of genre could win the remix competition. There's no restrictions on that. And I noticed somebody else said, like, imagine Anjunabeats releasing a drum and bass track, but they've been putting out like drum and bass remixes for quite a while. I did one back in 2011, I think, 2012. I don't know if they put it out though. Can't remember. And I did one for A Perfect Day. They definitely put that out by Super 8 and Tab. That was old. So yeah, they've been doing that for a while. Ambient piano tracks. I think doing an ambient piano track, for me at least, would be really insincere. And no disrespect to people that do ambient piano music. Some of my biggest heroes have put out ambient piano tracks, but it's kind of pretentious, if you ask me. But yeah. I don't know how many remix competitions I'll do. We'll see. Yeah, they just put out a drum bass remix by Darude. I'm helping to judge it, yes. As in, basically, there's people that weed through all the best ones and then they send it to me. So I'll probably be hearing like hundreds or instead of thousands. Actually, I don't even know how many entries we're getting. We could only be getting 100 entries. In which case, I might as well listen to all of them, right? Well, Alex said best. I'm gonna go eat. Bon appetit. So yeah, thanks for joining me. I know I don't stream as often as I used to, but yeah, I think it's nice to do it once in a while. Hope you had fun. I'll see you guys soon. I've got some other stuff planned for Minecraft event stuff if you're interested. Can't announce anything yet, but tickets are already on sale for the next thing if you want to go check that out. But again, there's no information. It's just a ticket sale page. We're still working on it. But yeah, just know that we got some stuff planned. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.